Part 79. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 781. This has nothing to do with me. Huangxia shook her head. Although she was now against her own brother, she was not a spy. Thank you, Master Xianyuan. Gao Durong grinned and said, today, we will clean up the mess. Zhen Wenjun and others widened their eyes and looked at Xianyuan Bingguo in disbelief. You, the young master of the Xianyuan family, are actually the leader of Li Chen's intelligence department? Are you crazy? Xianyuan Bingguo still said coldly, leave it to you. Gao Durong sneered, come on, take the young masters away, and we will slowly settle the accounts. Zhen Wenjun and others could never have imagined that at the last moment, they would be controlled by a group of ants. Li Chen, hurry up. Xianyuan Xiong was covered in blood. They had 20 or 30 masters who took turns to fight, but they couldn't stop Kailan Genren, and 5 or 6 people were killed. If this goes on, everyone will really die here. Li Chen's face was covered in blood, but his aura was fluctuating more and more. His aura seemed to be interrupted. Ah! As Li Chen roared, the tiny chip that seemed to have been modified was finally taken out. The blood could not stop flowing, and Li Chen became a bloody man. Bang! Li Chen knelt on the ground weakly, and blood dripped down his forehead. Li Chen! Li Hoxian roared, trying to wake up his son. But Li Chen, who was kneeling on the ground, was declining in his aura. The late stage of the heavenly man realm, the middle stage of the heavenly man realm, the early stage of the heavenly man realm. Li Qingshan and others could only watch Li Chen's aura fall to the Grand Master realm, without even the opportunity to help. Failed. Li Qingshan muttered to himself, still unable to believe it. Even he had to admit that Li Chen was more talented than him. His rise could not be replicated, and no one in the Li family could do this. Otherwise, the system would not give it to Li Chen. Grandmaster late stage, Grandmaster middle stage, Grandmaster early stage. Li Chen's aura was still falling, and he was about to enter the dark energy level. When Long Zhan and others saw this scene, they knew in their hearts that it was impossible for Li Chen to fight back. Line up, Long Zhan shouted, fight to the death. Today's battle solved most of the hidden dangers. As long as Kailan Genren was seriously injured, the country would have a chance to breathe. Although the biggest trouble was not solved, for the inspection department, this was the best result that could be accepted. Many strong men in the inspection department formed battle formations. Even if Kailan Genren could not be killed in this battle, he would at least be forced to spit blood and return. Giving Zhou enough time to take charge of the inspection department would definitely change the situation. Li Hoxian sighed. Almost all the people in the Li family were dead, but the biggest trouble had not been solved. Son, I'm sorry for you. Li Hoxian looked at Li Chen, who was kneeling on the ground motionless and whose aura had fallen to the level of Ming Jin, and his eyes flashed with determination. Even if he died, he had to leave Kailan Genren. If this guy didn't die, everyone would be in trouble. His obsession was gone, and no one could stop him. Kill. Suddenly, Li Chen opened his eyes, and felt that his eyelids were glued. A very weak feeling surged into his heart, and Li Chen gasped heavily. Ancestor, ancestor, you are really a fool. Li Chen raised his head with difficulty, staggered up, and crawled towards the ruins just now. Plop. Li Chen rolled into a pool formed by the gathering of Yuankai water. This was Murong Hung's secret room. You are here. Li Chen slowly opened his eyes and saw an old man. Li Chen no longer had much strength and could only nod weakly. I didn't expect that I would end up like this. The old man sighed. Murong Hung said, let me wait here. If you are dying, my mission will come. As countless vitality water poured in and was absorbed, Li Chen felt that his body was recovering at a very slow speed. The old man said, you may not know me, but it doesn't matter. I am just the last trump card of the Murong family. As he said that, he had already walked to Li Chen's side. One hand was placed on Li Chen's forehead. This thing is not so easy to possess, and the price of taking it out is also not small. Li Chen felt countless pure spiritual power pouring into his body, and he felt that his strength was coming back. I have been waiting for this day all my life. I hope you can help us change this ending. Li Chen couldn't move, and could only watch the old man transfer all his spiritual power bit by bit. The vitality water in the pool, as well as countless Ganodermal lucidum and spiritual medicine, all turned into rolling medicinal power and entered Li Chen's body. The old man's face was covered with wrinkles, and he looked very old all of a sudden. Tell Murong Hungs that my mission as a member of the Murong family has been completed. After the old man finished speaking, he slowly closed his eyes. Li Chen could only stare blankly. He knew that the foundation of the Murong family could not be only Murong Qingying, a master. His cultivation was recovering little by little, and Li Chen entered the practice. Ming Jin, and Jin, Grand Master. All his injuries were recovering. The huge accumulation before, at this moment, completely exploded. Boom! Li Chen suddenly opened his eyes and broke through the heaven realm again. Early stage, middle stage, late stage. But he still didn't get up, just a little bit more. At this moment, he clearly felt the bottleneck. Since Li Qingshan and others can cross it, he must be able to do it too. The system had already completed the transformation of his body before this, so, theoretically speaking, it is not a big problem for him to cross it. Li Chen closed his eyes again, and the spiritual energy around him poured in without any difference. Spirit realm. Time passed by, and Li Chen still didn't break through. Whether it was Long Zhan or Xian Yuanxiang, whether it was Li Qingshan or his father, they only accumulated to the spirit realm, but never entered it. Including Kailan Genren. If it is said that Long Zhan and others have accumulated, but their consciousness and perception have not actually reached it. And Kailan Genren has accumulated and perceived, so it is considered a double entry. But in fact, the threshold of the spirit realm has never been broken. Li Qingshan and the others all agreed that they could break this threshold by taking the system away, so what were the requirements? Li Chen immersed himself and began to think carefully and seriously. The luck had been broken and scattered throughout the world. The ancestors said that this world could not withstand the danger. The spirituality dissipated, and the martial arts needed to be cut off. Spirituality. Li Chen condensed slightly, the spirituality between heaven and earth. All things have spirits, and the world has spirits. When the spirits are exhausted, they naturally cannot bear it. Spirituality is an important thing to stabilize the world, or it is the main agent to maintain this plane. Li Chen's mind moved and began to immerse himself. Perhaps, when I capture this overflowing spirituality, it will be the moment when I officially enter the spiritual realm. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 782. The inspection office has been established and maintains stability for all parties, which is not useless. Their own strength is also very strong. They are all in the realm of heaven and man, but Wu Chuping and others are much worse than Fan Tingzhu and others. It didn't take long for the battle before Wu Chuping and others were knocked down. They were injured one by one and it was difficult for them to even stand up. But they were also lucky, because Kailan Genren didn't really kill them at the beginning. After several people in the realm of heaven and man on Li Chen's side were injured, Kailan Genren began to really kill. And the deaths at the beginning were mainly the masters of the inspection office. These are all the hard work cultivated by Long Zhan. Now seeing this crazy guy constantly killing his own people, how can he not be angry? Kill. Change formation. Boom. The sword energy composed of countless long swords still caused considerable damage to Kailan Genren. The combat effectiveness of the inspection office, whether others admit it or not, is the strongest organization in the world. Xian Yuanxiang climbed up from the ruins, his face was much paler, he spat out a mouthful of blood, and looked at the bronze sword that had been knocked crooked. If the tiger doesn't show its might, do you really think that my Xian Yuan family is just eating for free? Xian Yuanxiang stepped on the ground with his feet, and his body soared into the sky. Old man, it's not that I can't beat you, I'm just too lazy to get serious. Sword. This old senior of the Xian Yuan family, who looked careless and a little cynical, finally got serious. The bronze sword he was twisting had been thrown away. At the same time, in the ancient house of the Xian Yuan family, a golden ancient sword broke through the air. Like a stream of light, with a golden tail, it flew in an instant. At this moment, even Long Zhan and others were shocked. Xian Yuan, guard the important place of the capital, do you really think we are easy to mess with? The moment Xian Yuanxiang held the Xian Yuan sword, the domineering aura of the emperor soared into the sky. The robes around him were torn, and a golden battle armor covered his body. The vast sword energy was crisscrossing, and there was a great spirit between heaven and earth. Xian Yuanxiang touched the ground with his toes, and the whole person immediately stabbed at Kailan Genren like a spinning top with golden sword energy. Kailan Genren's face was serious and crazy. He shook off the two directors of the inspection division in the early stage of the heaven and man realm with his hands, and suddenly pushed them in front of his chest. Zizi. Countless flames jumped. This semicircular light shield, under the impact of the golden sword light, kept retreating. Dong dong dong. Every step taken by Kailan Genren would make a resounding sound like a drum in the sky. When the last step fell, Kailan Genren separated his hands, and a powerful reaction force was instantly exerted. Xian Yuanxiang had to retreat with him, and the last sword was slashed. The golden sword energy instantly broke Kailan Genren's defense, and there was a bloody wound on his chest. With Xian Yuanxiang boosting morale, everyone felt that they had no chance of winning. Li Hoxian, can we do it again? Long Zhan asked. If we continue to waste time, everyone will die. We must inflict enough heavy damage on Kailan Genren before we die. Li Qingshan was no longer elegant at this time. His face was very pale and he looked at Li Hoxian. Ahem. Li Hoxian spat out a mouthful of blood and said, we have experienced enough. As for the rest of us, it's good to return to ordinary. Give me some time and try again. Only his secret method can cause substantial damage to Li Hoxian. But the time is too long, and everyone needs to support it with their lives. Then try again, Long Zhan roared, and the masters came again. Kailan Genren's eyes were slightly cold. He had completely lost his patience and hope. When the last glimmer of hope was broken, he was completely crazy. Boom! The violent momentum burst out instantly, and Kailan Genren locked his eyes on Long Zhan with a cold look, kill you first. As long as the strongest few here are killed first, the rest will no longer be a threat. Long Zhan laughed loudly, this is the effect he wanted. If his death can be exchanged for a chance to win, it is worth it. Cut. The blood-red long sword pierced through the formation set up by Li Chen, and the sword light soared into the sky, stirring up the wind and clouds. At this moment, countless people saw this thick and loud red sword light falling. Die. Kailan Genren seemed to be fearless, and he didn't even dodge. His domineering fist strength instantly hit the blood-red sword light. The sword light broke inch by inch, but it also cut deep grooves on Kailan Genren's body. Bang! A sword slashed across, cutting Kailan Genren's arm into visible bone residue. But Kailan Genren's fist also hit Long Zhan's left fist directly. Master! Long Zhan's left fist was broken in public. The violent force sent his body flying and fell down helplessly. Qinglong and others were furious, but no one went to rescue him. Xian Yuanxiang held the sword with both hands, and the plain long sword with golden sword light slashed at the top of Kailan Genren's head. Dang! Like the collision of golden swords, this sword cut off Kailan Genren's left hand. But Xian Yuanxiang was also smashed by Kailan Genren with one hand. Bang 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 bang. Countless fist marks hit his sword and flesh fiercely. Xian Yuanxiang was covered in blood and fell down with powerlessness. Li Qingshan smiled bitterly. He was the only one left. He took a deep breath and blocked the path that Kailan Genren had to pass. Neither of them spoke, and they attacked each other at the same time. Both of them were extremely fast, like lightning, and each punch landed on the other with incomparable precision. After blasting 81 punches, Li Qingshan and Kailan Genren retreated at the same time. Qinglong and others' pupils shrank. Li Qingshan's hands had already fallen down, and the bones near his chest collapsed. As soon as Li Qingshan opened his mouth, blood gushed out of his mouth. Qinglong rushed over to catch Li Qingshan, who was about to fall, and said, "Next, leave it to us. The members of the inspection department, stop him at all costs. Li Hoxian is the last trump card. If everyone's strength is spent and they can't stop Kailan Genren, then everyone will die together." The people of the inspection department looked at each other and rushed up resolutely. Even if they died immediately, they had no regrets. Boom boom boom. One after another, the masters of the inspection division were either crippled or killed. Even though there were still 15 of them, they could not stop it. The four powerful men, Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Black Tortoise, were also suppressed by Kailan Genren and could not move. In the end, they kicked the four men away like kicking garbage. In the air, except Li Hoxian, no one else could confront Kailan Genren. Li Hoxian looked bitter. Although his secret technique was powerful, it took too long. Moreover, he was seriously injured. If he wanted to accumulate enough killing power, he could only wait slowly. Li Hoxian, I gave you chances again and again, but you disappointed me again and again. Today, I will not give you another chance. I will kill all your Li family members and make you regret it. If the luck is scattered, then I will kill all those who can gather the luck and let it gather again. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 783. Li Hoxian smiled bitterly, but still insisted on the last blow to deal the highest damage. Kailan Genren looked at Li Hoxian with interest, as if he was looking at a pitiful insect. When the secret technique was used to drive the green sword to reappear, Kailan Genren sighed, "It's time to end." At this moment, Kailan Genren waved his hands, and his broken left arm had slowly grown out. But it was pure blood color. He slapped the flying green sword with both hands as if he had just taken them out of the blood pool. In the sky was full of bloody palm prints. The palm prints were like thousands of ghosts. In the end, they slapped on the flying green sword one after another. Every time a bloody palm print fell, the power of the green sword would be weakened. Before touching Kailan Genren, the damage of the flying sword had been greatly reduced. The consequence was that the power of this brewing killing move was not as great as imagined. Swish! The sound of cutting appeared. The flying sword slashed, and Kailan Genren's arm was broken again. However, the power of the sword only cut off Kailan Genren's left arm. The flying sword penetrated his chest, but did not aim at the atrium. Although it also caused great injuries to Kailan Genren, this injury was not fatal. Li Hoxian's momentum quickly withered. This attack was his strongest means. However, the gap between him and Kailan Genren was really too big. I didn't expect it. I still lost after all the tricks. Li Hoxian smiled bitterly. He was not afraid of Kailan Genren. However, he was afraid that he would never have a chance to hug his grandson and granddaughter, who he had not even hugged and met. Kylan Genren's eyes were cold, and without any nonsense, he slapped his palm towards his head. Li Hoxian certainly would not sit and wait for death, and his body suddenly sank. Bang! Li Hoxian raised his hands to block, and this palm slapped him directly from the sky to the ground. Boom! The ground was rippled and a deep pit was blown up. Kylan Genren walked down, his eyes locked on Li Hoxian in the deep pit. Ahem! Li Hoxian crawled out of the pit covered in blood, and saw Kylan Genren slap him again. Li Hoxian took a deep breath and prepared to blow himself up desperately. Dad, you can't do it? Li Hoxian's momentum suddenly stagnated, and he turned his head to look at Li Chen, who was emitting a milky white halo and was looking at him with a smile. That holy look formed a sharp contrast with his embarrassed look. Get out! Li Hoxian spit out a mouthful of blood, put away his momentum, and lay on the ground weakly. Li Chen smiled and stood in front of Li Hoxian. Although his father was a jerk, he had also had enough of being a jerk and a playboy in the past few years. If it weren't for this person to protect him from the wind and rain, he would definitely not be so happy. Kylan Genren's face looked a little bad, because he didn't expect that Li Chen was still alive. Moreover, Li Chen at this moment gave him a sense of emptiness. The two looked at each other, and no one spoke. Kylan Genren rushed straight to Li Chen without saying a word. He didn't believe that he couldn't kill the father and son. The absolute destructive power came from Kylan Genren's single arm. He wanted to smash his son's head into pieces in front of Li Hoxian. Li Chen smiled slightly, because no one knew what state he was in at the moment. His whole body was hazy, as if he didn't exist, and as if he existed. Seeing that Kylan Genren's palm was about to fall, it never fell on Li Chen's head. Kylan Genren's eyes really changed, becoming particularly sharp and particularly unbelievable. This is impossible. Then, the violent storm attack all fell on Li Chen's defense. It can be seen that circles of ripples were swinging on this defense. However, no matter what, it can't be broken. How can this happen? Kylan Genren stared at Li Chen. Why is this happening? You ask me, Li Chen smiled and said, perhaps, this is what you are pursuing, the spiritual realm. Sensing the heaven and earth, the heaven and man realm is just a pseudo-spiritual realm, and the so-called unity of heaven and man is all fake. Kylan Genren listened to Li Chen blankly. My ancestors did not lie to you, because after I took down the system, I also knew what the real trouble was. Kylan Genren didn't believe it. I know you don't believe it, and I didn't think of trying to persuade you, Li Chen said. I just tell you what I know and see. The road of martial arts is endless, and everyone may be able to live forever, but the consequence of this is that the gate to the hell on earth will be completely opened. Not in the sky, but underground. Is this what he said? Kylan Genren asked. Yes, and no, to be precise, it's a picture I saw. Li Chen's eyes were full of fear. The existence guarding the edge of the gate to the hell world are stronger than us. I saw thousands of them, countless species. Kylan Genren was stunned. How is this possible? If this door is opened, can you stop it? Li Chen sneered. My ancestor restarted the martial arts path of Blue Star, and he may have surpassed the spiritual realm long ago. Even he can't do anything about it, can you? If it is opened now, all countries and people may be doomed. Is your immortality still meaningful? Kylan Genren retreated again and again. Is this the truth about the one who cut off the road of martial arts? We are not soft eggs. The opening of the gate of hell may happen sooner or later, but now no one is ready. Li Chen took the initiative to take a step forward and said, so, I and the others, don't even think about opening it. The beauty of the prosperous age cannot afford such a destructive blow. We still need time. Li Chen slapped out with a palm, and Kylan Genren flew backwards hundreds of meters. But the next moment, Li Chen appeared on the way of Kylan Genren's backward flight and punched him again. No. I don't believe it. Kylan Genren's eyes flashed with madness. It's him, Li Yi, who is selfish. I don't believe in the gate of hell. The ground of this planet is solid, and there can't be any portal. The surging blood rushed to the sky. Kylan Genren began to fight back, and the sky was full of bloody figures, attacking the white light ball in the middle. Boom boom boom. The shocking collision sound erupted, like a great earthquake. However, Kylan Genren's attack, at this moment, was completely ineffective. Li Chen allowed Kylan Genren's attack to fall, but Kylan Genren could not shake it at all. The gap between the spiritual realm and the heavenly realm was completely revealed at this moment. Li Chen suppressed it with one hand, and the surrounding space shrank layer by layer. Suppress. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 784. Kylan Genren's body was pressed into the ground inch by Li Chen. The surrounding cement and concrete were all bounced out inch by inch. Boom. The surrounding ground was all rolled up. Kylan Genren was suppressed by Li Chen with one hand and could not move. You can't even beat me at this moment, how can you beat my ancestor Li Yi? Li Chen shook his head, as if he was bullying a child. It's over. Li Chen's hand fell, and Kylan Genren roared unwillingly. Unfortunately, all this was in vain. Just like he had unilaterally beaten Li Chen and everyone in the inspection department before, Li Chen was also unilaterally beating them at this time. Bang bang bang. Li Chen smiled brightly, but he was ruthless. Every punch he made Kylan Genren spit blood continuously. The only remaining right hand was also hammered into dregs even with the bones. Without waiting for Kylan Genren to scream, Li Chen pressed him to the ground and hammered him. The punch hit the chest, ribs, and legs of the Kylan Genren. The entire area had become a pit. When Li Chen's last punch landed, Kylan Genren was left with only a trace of breath. Didn't you lie to me? Is there any point in lying to you? Li Chen said coldly. Kylan Genren spit out blood and smiled sadly. I don't know what he thought of, but he started to cough violently. However, his breath of life was gradually disappearing. The things he pursued for a lifetime were all fake, and his obsession was gone. Li Chen watched Kylan Genren die, and with his right hand, he grabbed Xian Shang in his hand. Xian Shang was terrified. He thought Li Chen had forgotten his existence. You are miserable. Xian Shang said, give me a chance. Then you should die. Li Chen blasted Xian Shang's head with one hand. What's the point of keeping this kind of thing that has been causing harm for thousands of years? Li Hoxian finally breathed a sigh of relief, and just as he was about to speak, he saw Li Chen walking towards a place. What are you going to do? To meet an old friend, Li Chen's figure soared into the sky. On a tall building, a red figure turned around and walked away. Where are you going, lady in red, in such a hurry? Li Chen's joking voice sounded. The woman in red was as if she was facing a great enemy. She looked at Li Chen with great vigilance, and she couldn't believe that Li Chen had discovered her so quickly. Do you think I will forget you? Li Chen joked, since Rong Cheng, you have always appeared in my field of vision. Later, whether in Huiyan Town or Zhongcheng, you were always there. Who are you? Didn't you say that I am Lady in Red? The woman in red was no longer in a hurry. He. Li Chen punched, and the woman in red changed color. Ghosts and monsters. How dare you show off your skills in front of me? You. The woman in red couldn't even withstand a single blow, and was beaten by Li Chen until she vomited blood. Just as she was about to stand up, Li Chen stepped on her head. You are not a Red Skull person at all, right? Li Chen looked down at the woman who looked like a beauty. I'll give you one last chance. The woman in red looked at Li Chen coldly, as if she was looking at a dead body. Li Chen, you will die miserably like Li Yi. Li Chen frowned slightly. Is the ancestor dead? The ancestor discovered the secret that year, because, Accidentally opened the door to the hell realm? Are you something inside the door? You will die, you will all die, the woman in red grinned, this land will eventually be dominated by us. Li Chen stepped down and crushed the woman's head. Since no useful information can be obtained, I won't ask. He only has this level of cultivation when he came out of the door, and he doesn't seem to be an important person. Li Chen looked at the body that began to rot and wither rapidly, and his eyes condensed slightly. Is this possession? You. Li Chen grabbed a ball of light that looked like a spirit in the air. Soul. Li Chen fell into deep thought, and cast a band to study it slowly in the future. Have you heard? There was a big earthquake in the capital yesterday. Isn't it? At the beginning, the earthquakes were one after another, and then there were uninterrupted aftershocks. Oh, it's so scary. I saw blood red yesterday, I thought it was magma rushing out. Early in the morning. When the networks in various places were restored, there was a huge heated discussion on the network. Murong's family and other places have been restored to almost everything, and there is no trace of fighting at all. Yuan's family. Yuan Jiahao and his group of people were waiting outside. People outside were quite worried. It was not until the door was opened that Li Chen came out with a tired face. How is it? Yuan Jiahao asked immediately with concern. He's alive, Li Chen said, but he needs to rest for 2 days before he can wake up. That's good, Yuan Jiahao burst into tears. There were still many people in the house, and almost everyone was injured. Let Li Donglong bring me the herbs, Li Chen ordered. Next, I have to help you heal your wounds. Yuan Chenjiun immediately went down to make a phone call, and Yuan Jiahao, the head of the Yuan family, began to gather people. Murong's family could no longer live there, and according to Murong Hung's meaning, they had to rebuild. Inspection Office. Zhou had dark circles under his eyes, and when he heard the news, he let out a long breath. I won the bet. Zhou let out a long breath and couldn't help laughing. Come here, tell all the main personnel of the branches of the inspection office immediately that their directors will return to their positions in a few days. All places must focus on stabilizing order. In addition, let the inspection office act quickly and clear all the families in the capital that can be cleared. At the same time, control the news from the outside world and don't let these things spread. Yes. Orders were passed down one by one. Zhou stayed at the headquarters of the inspection office for 4 hours and issued hundreds of orders. Many problems caused by the war also need to be adjusted. After he finished, he immediately drove to the Yuan family in the capital. At this time, there were countless heavy troops around the Yuan family. Hello, I'm Zhou from the inspection division, and I'm here to visit you. Please wait a moment, the master guarding the door nodded, and came out after a long time. Please come in. Thank you. Zhou rushed in, and until all the wounded were separated to rest, he went straight to the room where everyone in the inspection division was. Old Director Long Zhan was wearing an oxygen tube, and the whole person was still in a coma. Zhou rushed into the room, and saw that Long Zhan was not dead, and his heart finally fell. In this room, Qinglong and the other 4 were all there. Brother Qinglong. Qinglong, who was covered in bandages, made a shushing gesture. What are you doing here? Doesn't the inspection division need someone to take charge? Zhou didn't feel wronged at all for his brother's scolding, but smiled. Brother, I've taken care of everything, but I'm just worried, so I came to take a look. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 785. When Zhou arrives, he has good intentions. Qinglong and the others were not willing to really scold this junior brother, so they simply stopped saying such bad words. Boom. There was a knock on the door, and Zhou took the initiative to open the door. What I saw was the handsome Li Chen. This was Zhou's first real meeting with Li Chen. Although the inspection department had always paid attention to Li Chen, the two had never met. "Hello, my name is Joji." Joji stretched out his right hand and smiled at Li Chen. "I'm not good." "Joji, Sigma, A. Go aside." Joji looked at the handsome guy in front of him with a blank expression, and then ruthlessly pulled him aside. Qinglong and others were also a little stunned. Does Li Chen have a grudge against Joji? Seeing Li Chen walk in, Joji closed the door with a darkened expression. "Hand." Qinglong immediately stretched out his hand obediently, and Li Chen put his fingers on it, saying, "It's okay, the injury is not serious. After today's treatment, you can get out." "Li Chen, if you have a temper, you can come at me." Joji can't stand Li Chen's bastard aura anymore. Senior brothers and the others are still injured. Shouldn't they take more care of themselves? "Oh? Who are you?" Li Chen turned his head and looked at Joji with a smile. "Joji. What to do? I really want to beat this guy to death." "I didn't offend you, did I?" Joji asked with a stern face. "You have." Qinglong and others were coughing crazily. Joji's original remarks about Li Chen's dissatisfaction were indeed true. But only a few people close to them knew about it. How could Li Chen know? Joji's eyes swept across the faces of the four senior brothers and sisters, and all four of them turned their heads and looked away as if they felt guilty. Joji sighed. He knew without asking that it must have been leaked by a certain tight-lipped senior sister. "I apologize for making some immature remarks. I do not accept." "You." Joji's eyes widened and he wished he could hammer this guy to death. After all, he is now also a senior official who has officially taken over the entire inspection department, which gives him some face. Li Chen continued to check the other three people. Although they had injuries, they were all external injuries. As for internal injuries, it will take a long time to heal. Finally, Li Chen came to the old director. Seeing the old director closing his eyes peacefully, Li Chen put away his other thoughts and put his fingers on Long Zhan's wrist. "How does your inspection department arrange it?" Li Chen asked while inspecting. "This is a matter for our inspection department," Joji said in an absolutely critical tone. Li Chen waved his hand, and Joji hit the wall hard with a bang. Although it didn't hurt, it was extremely humiliating. "I personally suggest that your inspection department be replaced by someone with a clearer mind." "How about you replace him with someone with a clearer mind?" "I'll be happy to do it for you." Li Chen winked at Qinglong. "Ah, there's no need for that." Qinglong quickly jumped out of bed. "You're quite busy. Our inspection department can handle it ourselves." "Tisk, that's a bit of a pity. I feel so sorry for your sister." Joji almost vomited blood in depression. "How is my master?" Suzaku came over and changed the subject. "This girl has a baby face, but she has a super hot figure." "Well, although the injury is very serious, with my treatment, it stands to reason that it should be almost healed," Li Chen said. "As for these external injuries, with his strength, he will be healed soon." "But let's put it this way," Li Chen said in a different way, "the old director is fine now, but he has lost hope of living." Upon hearing this, the faces of Qinglong and the others immediately became solemn. Everyone knows the reason why Long Zhan has been holding on until now. The death of the first director, their master, was the master's obsession. Now, revenge has been avenged, and all hidden dangers have been eliminated. Next, as this group of martial arts practitioners die of old age, the martial arts world will gradually wither. There are almost no people who can threaten the inspection department. If the old director doesn't want to wake up by himself, then no one can wake him up. So, whether you can wake him up again depends on your ability." Li Chen stood up, and when he walked to Joji's side, he paused and said, "You have good foundation, but it's a pity that you are too whimsical. Although I am not optimistic about you taking charge of the inspection department, I believe in Director Long's vision." Li Chen patted Joji on the shoulder, turned around and walked out of the room. Joji stood there blankly, with mixed emotions. Master Li Xian, after seeing Li Chen, the soldiers in this room were about to sit up in surprise, only to grin in pain. Lie down. Li Chen smiled and said, "How do you feel?" "Hiss, except that I can't move, everything else is fine." The one who spoke was Nangong Hengdu, who had killed several people who were stronger than him. Of course, his injury is also the most serious now. Li Chen sat next to Nangong Hengchuo, examined him carefully and said, "Yes, my recovery ability is very strong. I will try my best to recover from the injury this time before taking action. I will prescribe it first and hand it over to Yuan Jiun." "Good." Wu Chuping, Zhong Zhengtang, Qiu Lijhan, Lin Hengxia, Wu Ying. The people who were willing to accompany him on his journey north are now here. However, some people are gone. Although those who are gone are dead, the living people will not forget them. They will also take care of their own families. Your ribs are broken. I have studied some plasters. Apply them 4 times a day. Remember to apply them on time. Your leg is fine. I will help you reconnect it and give you some medicine. I guarantee that the medicine will cure the disease. Your case is a bit serious, but it doesn't matter." There were bursts of joyful laughter in the ward. There were many injured this time, and almost everyone was injured. Li Chen was also willing to do his best to take care of them and treat them. There is almost no vacant space in the Yuan family's private hospital now. Many people can only squeeze into one house. It still took a lot of time to treat this group of masters. After Li Chen diagnosed them one by one, he went to other rooms. Gao Derong and Emojias Hung were also there. They were not patients, but they were taking care of patients. These people were not even at the Grand Master level, but they were very dazzling and eye-catching in this battle. Seeing Li Chen coming, the 2 men immediately stood up. Unlike the previous look full of hatred and hostility, the state of these 2 people was somewhat like Long Zhan. Their goal was revenge, and now that it had been done, they naturally had no fighting spirit. Li Chen could feel that if there were no wounded to take care of, perhaps these 2 people would not even have the idea of living. Li Chen walked in silently, checked the injuries of these wounded one by one, and then looked at the 2 of them. Talk. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 786. What are your plans next? Li Chen stood by the windowsill and handed each of them a cigarette. Gao Derong didn't take it, but Emojias Hung took it without hesitation. Gao Derong's eyes seemed to have lost focus, and his whole body seemed to be in a state of no god. Because his Gao family was gone, his revenge had been avenged, so his mission of living was over. As for Emojias Hung, the situation was similar to Gao Derong. After killing his enemies, he felt empty and boring. The only mission of living now is to take care of those who believed in them and protected them at the last moment. No plan. Gao Derong thought carefully and seriously and said, I have transferred all the money to your account. Although it cost a lot before, the income has now doubled. What about you? Li Chen looked at Emojias Hung. Emojias Hung shook his head and said, I don't know. Li Chen looked at the 2 of them and didn't persuade them much. Now, I have built a lot of houses in Jia village. This place will mainly be used for elderly care in the future. If you 2 have nowhere to go, then go here and take a look. I have left a house for each of you. After saying this, Li Chen put out his cigarette butt and turned away. Everyone has their own way of living, and everyone has their own way to go. Li Chen is not a god, and he can't decide the way for others. If Gao Derong and Emojias Hung choose to end their lives, he won't stop them. Walking into the hospital again, Li Chen went straight to the last 3 wards. The door is made of glass, and you can see a handsome but greasy man wailing. Ouch, ouch, it hurts so much. Here. Yes, yes, it hurts here too. Stop screaming, I'll help you rub it. Li Chen stood sluggishly by the door, watching his shameless father cheating on a woman. The woman's movements suddenly stopped as Li Chen came in. Xiao Chen. The woman stood up suddenly, and her big dark peach eyes suddenly burst into mist. Hey, hey. Li Hoqian's face was dark. Li Chen looked at the woman in front of him who had not changed much, and his eyes were red. Mom. Zhao Yufeng hugged her son, and her longing was like a spring, which could not be stopped. She hugged her son who was a head taller than her tightly, sobbing silently. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. She felt extremely guilty about Li Chen. It can be said that she felt that she was most sorry for this son. Li Chen gently patted his mother's back and said, "It's okay, it's okay." Zhao Yufeng wiped her tears, took Li Chen's hand, sat on the bed, and gently touched the outline of Li Chen's cheek. She was proud to give birth to this son. However, for this plan, she still did it to her son. It's mom who's sorry for you and made you suffer. I'm not suffering. Li Chen shook his head slightly and reached out to wipe away his mother's tears. It can be seen that Zhao Yufeng has always lived in guilt and self-blame. If you want to blame someone, blame this person. Li Chen poked Li Hoqian's waist. Hiss, you little beast. Who are you calling a beast? Zhao Yufeng's pretty face turned cold, and she stared at Li Hoqian, showing the majesty of a tigress to the fullest. Li Hoqian laughed dryly, still not daring to refute his wife's words, but showed a threatening look to Li Chen. Mom, I miss you. Zhao Yufeng's heart softened when she heard this. Mom misses you too, it's mom's fault. I'm so miserable. Other people's fathers help their children to protect the wind and rain. You don't know, he actually asked me to take the bullet for him. Li Chen played the victim. Li Hoqian. Zhao Yufeng was furious when she heard this. Li Hoqian widened his eyes and looked at his son with a ghostly look on his face. He never expected that his son would actually stab him in the back. You bastard, what did I say before? You promised me to protect him. Wife, don't. Li Hoqian grimaced in pain, and his palms were clenched with blue veins. Mom, look, Dad is clenching his fists, he still wants to hit you. He thinks you are unreasonable. Li Chen fanned the flames. Li Hoqian, we are not done today. Seeing his mother's powerful performance, Li Chen quietly retreated. As for his father's treatment, he decided not to treat him. Wife, Li Hoqian hugged Zhao Yufeng and pointed to the door and said, gone, gone. Zhao Yufeng, with messy hair, immediately combed her hair and said with a slightly red face, really gone? Gone. Li Hoqian laughed, you acted well just now. Zhao Yufeng spat at Li Hoqian and said, what do you mean you acted well? That's my son. Oh, yes, that's your son. Li Hoqian immediately followed the words and turned his face to say, I was hit several times by you just now. Come on, it hurts a little. I need a kiss from my wife. You. Zhao Yufeng glared at the old man and said, you are already in your 40s, and you don't care about your face anymore. We are an old couple, what face do you need? Li Hoqian opened his hands, come on, I urgently need a hug from my wife. At the door. Li Chen shook his body with disgust. Such a shameless person turned out to be his own father? Li Chen shivered as he walked. From now on, Xiaolong and Xiaofei must be told to stay away from this biological grandfather, otherwise he will become another greasy man. Li Chen stood at Murong Heng's door and gently opened the door. Grandmother. Why? Give it to you. Haha, Xiao Wu is so good. Yunjia opened her mouth and ate the apple that Li Bui brought to her mouth. Xiao Wu, Grandpa also wants to. No. Murong Heng's Grandpa is a bad guy. But Grandpa also protected Xiao Wu. Mironghungs continued. Li Biwu tilted his head, thought about it seriously, and then looked at Yuanjia. Then, Grandma, Grandpa is a bad guy. Yes. Li Biwu was stunned for a moment, then nodded heavily and said, "You're okay, Grandma even said you were a bad guy, so she didn't give you food." Mironghungs. I had long known that there would be a day when I would be rejected by my granddaughter. Although I had been mentally prepared for it, I still felt sad. Just when Mironghungs was feeling lost, Li Biwu would pick up a piece of apple peeled by his grandmother with his little hands and bring it to Mironghung's mouth. "Aren't you going to give Grandpa time?" "Well, Grandpa, you're too busy, Daddy, you have to take care of the patients," Li Biwu said innocently and seriously. Mironghungs was slightly shocked and opened his mouth to accept the feeding from his granddaughter. At this time, the door opened. "Daddy." Mironghungs. Li Chen couldn't help but laugh. Seeing Mironghungs staring at him angrily, he spread his hands. Seeing the apple in his mouth slip away like this, Mironghungs was so angry that he vomited blood. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 787. Li Biwu threw herself into Li Chen's arms, her little red lips slightly pouted, and she made a sweet sound. She rubbed Li Chen's already stub-bled face with her little face full of collagen. "Daddy." Soft, waxy, with a hint of coquettishness and endless longing. The little girl hugged Li Chen's neck tightly and seemed reluctant to let go. Diamond sued. "Xiao Wu misses you so much." Li Chen's heart trembled, he picked up the little girl and patted her back gently. "Dad misses you too. It's my fault that I didn't take good care of you." Li Biwu lay on Li Chen's body, his already rounded chin on his shoulder, and his fingers were scribbling on Li Chen's back. "What are you drawing?" "Drawing ... drawing Mama, Big Pot, 3 pots, Sister E, Grandma." Mironghungs, who was lying on the bed, raised his ears and looked expectantly. As a result, Li Biwu stopped abruptly after talking about her grandmother. Mironghung's face was full of disappointment and he sighed heavily. He also knows that he has left a bad impression on the children, which may affect him for a lifetime. Yuanjia watched from the side and remained silent. Even she was kept in the dark, and now she was full of resentment towards this person, let alone a child. Li Chen held the little girl with one hand, sat on the bedside, and said, "Hands." Although he was reluctant to be called out like this by his son-in-law, Mironghungs obediently stretched out his hand. In order not to hurt Xiao Wu but to extract his luck, Mironghungs endured almost all the damage. Otherwise, Xiao Wu may not be able to survive until the moment of Li Chen's rescue. If he hadn't realized it during the battle and knew that Mironghungs and his father were acting, he wouldn't have paid any attention to the old guy. He acted for so many years to make everyone believe that they had broken off. But Li Chen had to admit that Mironghungs succeeded. "It's okay, I can't die." "You." "What?" "Your father-in-law wants to die." Li Chen squinted his eyes and smiled. Mironghungs was suddenly speechless, stared at Li Chen with evil eyes and said, "Do you still want to marry my daughter?" Li Chen was stunned when he heard this, and immediately smiled and said, "Father-in-law, we are joking." "Ouch, my legs are numb." Li Chen. "Hey, this man is old and there is nothing he can do, otherwise I should take my daughter back." "Old guy, don't go too far." "Then look at my legs." Mironghung said proudly. "Xiao Wu, beat your grandpa's legs." Li Chen gritted his teeth and placed Li Biwu beside the bed, and put a hand on Xiao Wu's shoulder. Li Biwu stared at her grandpa with big round eyes, then at Dad, and waved her little fist decisively. "Ah!" Mironghung's eyes widened, and Li Chen immediately reached out and squeezed Mironghung's hand, making him unable to move or even make a sound. "Does it hurt if Grandpa doesn't tie it?" Li Biwu was startled and asked quickly. It doesn't hurt, keep hammering, Li Chen signaled with a smile. Okay. Li Biwu fell in love with this game and hammered down with both fists. Mirongheng stared at this shameless son-in-law with splitting eyes. He never imagined that this guy would actually use a child to take revenge on him. Such a strong force would break his legs. Unfortunately, he was controlled by Li Chen and couldn't even cry for help. Giggle. Li Biwu was having so much fun that he didn't expect that his daddy would use his little hands to help him fight. Father-in-law, are you comfortable? Mirongheng nodded with wet eyes and shed tears of regret. Xiao Wu, it's ready. Li Biwu felt a little unfinished, then stretched out his hands for Dad to hug him. Li Chen then picked up Li Biwu and said with a smile, Father-in-law, please rest early. I will take Xiao Wu out to relax. Mirongheng forced out a fake smile, but when Li Chen left with Li Biwu, his face suddenly fell. Ah, it hurts me so much. Yuanjiawai said, how many times will the kid hit you? What will your name be? You. Mirongheng vomited blood in frustration. He wanted to say that Li Chen, a turtle grandson, did not practice martial arts. But the key point is that Li Chen really didn't take any action, he just borrowed Xiao Wu's fist. He doesn't even have a place to reason. Need it for me. You are being hypocritical. Yuanjiawai was too lazy to pay attention to him. She was still resentful that Mirongheng had lied to her for decades. Daddy. Wouldn't ah. Li Chen felt the saliva on his cheeks and couldn't laugh or cry. Why did you kiss Dad? Xiao Wu likes Daddy. Li Biwu shyly hugged Li Chen's neck and said in a shy voice. Li Chen couldn't help laughing. At this age, children are very willing to express their emotions and love. Maybe when she gets older, she won't. Therefore, Li Chen was still happy to hear these words. Stop. Li Chen opened the door and looked at his mother Zhao Yufeng standing at the door. Those pair of watery peach blossom eyes rushed over as if they were seeing a peerless treasure. Hey, Mom. Li Chen could only watch as the little girl in his arms was violently snatched away by the mother in front of him. Xiao Wu was still a little scared, looking at Li Chen pitifully. Xiao Wu, Zhao Yufeng also knew that she had frightened the child a little, and quickly said softly, I am Grandma. Hearing that it was Grandma, Li Biwu stared at Li Chen with big eyes for help. She only listened to Li Chen. Well, this is my mother, and also your real grandma, Li Chen had to say. Zhao Yufeng looked at the little girl expectantly and said, can you call me Grandma? Grandma, Li Biwu was not shy, and she could feel the other party's kindness. Hey, Zhao Yufeng's heart melted when she heard this Grandma. She was already in her 50s, and the wrinkles at the corners of her eyes were full of happy smiles that could not be hidden. My little baby is so good. Zhao Yufeng carried Li Biwu into the house, and Li Hokshan, who was lying on the bed, immediately sat up. Li Chen had to follow into the house. Why did you come in? Zhao Yufeng turned around and asked. Li Chen's raised foot suddenly froze in mid-air, and he looked at Zhao Yufeng with a question mark on his face. You are my parents, and my daughter is here too, so why can't I come in? Go, go, do your thing. Zhao Yufeng waved her hand, I'll take care of Xiao Wu. That's right, get out quickly. Li Hokshan rubbed his hands, and also wanted to hug this chubby little girl. Li Chen said with a dark face, don't you think you are too much? Really? Li Hokshan thought for a while and said, let's go, you are so grown up. Li Chen sighed for a long time, it was really unfair. In this family, I don't have any status at all, right? The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 788. Li Chen, who was kicked out of the room, became melancholy. He looked up at the sky outside and walked towards the last ward. Just as Li Chen was about to walk in, he saw someone inside. So he stopped again. He stood at the door and could clearly see Li Qingshan lying on the bed with bandages wrapped around him. In addition to him, there was a woman sitting beside the bed who looked no less beautiful than Mirang Shui. And he had seen this woman before. In addition to this woman, there was a handsome little boy sitting beside the bed. He had seen this woman before. Yao Yao, Li Qingshan, who was covered in bandages but still stretched out his mummy hand, looked at the woman beside the bed with deep affection and said gently, "I'm sorry." Dongfang Yaoqing looked at the man in front of her very silently. Although she acted very silently, Li Chen, an outsider, could see that this woman had taken this man to heart. "I shouldn't have lied to you. But, scumbag." Li Chen stood at the door and complained silently. "Scumbags are like this." It was obviously a lie from the beginning, but at the end there was a heartfelt explanation. "I actually didn't want to lie to you." Dongfang Yaoqing looked at the man who was wrapped like a zongzi with some discomfort. It would be a lie to say that she didn't feel distressed. "Then why did you lie to my mother?" said the little boy Dongfang Yajun. Mummy Li Qingshan turned his head and looked at the son who looked very much like himself and said, "Because I had to, because I am a member of the Li family. I love your mother and I love you too, but if I am with you, you will be in danger." Dongfang Yajun rolled his eyes. Li Chen was sure that this guy definitely didn't believe even a single punctuation mark of his father. "Scumbag, it's really a scumbag. Unlike me, the only good man in the world, I only love Shuer. Of course, Xiao and the others also love her very much." "Yao Yao, this time, I'm sorry," the mummy continued to say affectionately, "Dongfang family, I'm sorry." Dongfang Yaoqing's beautiful big eyes suddenly turned red. She was undoubtedly struggling and in pain. But her fate is very similar to Mirang Shui's. It's just that Li Qingshan took the initiative to contact Dongfang Yaoqing, and Dongfang Yaoqing was finally driven out of the Dongfang family. Although Mirang Shui and Li Chen also took the initiative, they were mostly arranged by the two old silver coins Mirang Hungs and Li Hoxian. Mirang Shui and Dongfang Yaoqing are both unlucky, but lucky. Because these two men are the beloved in their hearts. Fate is strange, but also coincidental. Dongfang Yaoqing is not without any affection for the Dongfang family, but this affection was consumed by the Dongfang family itself. But if she forgives Li Qingshan like this, it is unrealistic. After all, the Dongfang family is now gone by Li Qingshan, and his father-in-law was killed by him personally. Ahem. Li Chen coughed at this time and knocked on the door. Dongfang Yaoqing inside the door immediately turned around and quickly wiped away her tears. Li Chen slowly pushed the door open and walked in with a smile. Huh. The corner of the little boy Dongfang Yajun's mouth twitched slightly, and it was unknown whether he disliked Li Chen's poor acting skills. This is comparable to his father. "Miss Dongfang, you are here too." Yeah, Dongfang Yaoqing nodded a little embarrassedly. Li Chen sat down next to Dongfang Yajun, and while diagnosing Li Qingshan, he looked at Dongfang Yajun and said, "Little friend, have we met before?" "Uncle, you are so stupid, does Xiao really not dislike you?" "I'm so humming." Li Chen wanted to draw his sword the next moment, and his hand tightly grasped Li Qingshan, causing Li Qingshan to tremble all over. His Li Qingshan couldn't bear it anymore, and winked at Dongfang Yajun. "Little bastard, you have to look at the situation before you mock him, this guy is very petty." Dongfang Yajun looked at his father's trembling body, and had to force a smile and said, "Uncle and I were joking, hee hee." "Really?" Li Chen gave a fake smile and let go of Li Qingshan's arm that was almost broken. Dongfang Yajun looked at Li Chen and Li Qingshan in front of him and sighed. He felt that both his father and Uncle Chen were stupid and not as smart as Xiao Wu. I don't know how Aunt Mirang and Mom fell in love with them. Li Chen and Li Qingshan looked stiff, as if they understood the deep disdain from this junior. "I'm going to find Xiao Wu." Dongfang Yajun felt that the atmosphere was not right, and immediately slid off the bed and fled the scene. When Dongfang Yajun slipped away, Dongfang Yaoqing had to stand up, nodded to Li Chen, and then left the room. Your son doesn't look very smart. Get lost, Li Qingshan said unhappily, your son is not very smart. Hey, unfortunately, my son is in charge of the Qinyi group at a young age, and he is the president of the Li group. Did you cultivate him? Li Chen. It was cultivated by the old thief Murong. Is it because of your excellent genes? Murong Shui's genes are good. Li Qingshan, do you want to die? Li Chen pinched the mummy Li Qingshan. I am your cousin. I will beat you even if you are my real brother. The two men argued with red faces and thick necks. In the end, Li Chen still did not do anything to the patient. Li Qingshan raised his voice and said, what should you and Shui do? Then what should you and Dongfang Yaoqing do? Li Chen asked. The two brothers looked at each other and said, get married. After saying that, the two men laughed again at the same time. Let's share our thoughts together. Have a wedding. Chinese style. The whole room suddenly became extremely quiet. Li Qingshan looked at Li Chen warily and said, you are the younger brother. You have to remember that my elder brother has had this idea for a long time. TCH, Li Chen sneered disdainfully, you just have it, and I have already started to prepare. I'm ready too. I'm almost ready, Li Chen said proudly, my son and daughter are helping me decorate the wedding venue, which is in Jiakan. When the time comes, I want the ground to be filled with flowers, birds to come to congratulate me, and countless animals to become auspicious. I want to marry her in a big, serious sedan. Do you have it? Li Qingshan had a dark face, he was prepared. Xiao Chen. You should speak more seriously, we are not familiar with each other. Li Qingshan was speechless, but he still said flatteringly, we have always been brothers, right? It's useless for you to deny it. So, Li Chen looked at Li Qingshan suspiciously. Li Qingshan stretched out his mummy hand and put it on Li Chen's shoulder, I also plan to return to Jia village to settle down. You see, we are brothers connected by blood. Yao Yao and Shui are also good partners, too. Good friends and good neighbors. If the two of us hold a wedding together, will it be something worth remembering for you, me, the two of them, and the children? Of course, and more importantly, your dad also has to be my witness. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 789. Li Chen was silent for a moment and did not immediately agree. He had actually been preparing for this wedding for a long time. Including the layout of the entire village, all the details, now even Li Donglong and Li Nanfei are involved. It can be said that except for Li Biwu, who knew nothing, everyone who could participate participated. But as Li Qingshan said, Li Qingshan is the only one left in the capital. The rest of the Li family members were also hidden by him. They will definitely be brought back to Jiakan by then. Li Hoxian will be the host of the wedding for both parties, so it would make sense if they get married together. But if this happens, will he be robbed of the limelight? At that time, Dongfang Yaoqing was also in the same beautiful girl group as Murong Shui in the entertainment industry. The style is naturally not bad. If two sisters get married together, it will definitely cause a huge stir. Wait a minute, Li Chen said, Jiakan is my territory now. Everything, including investment, is done by me. Are you ready to pick up what's already available? It's bad, look what you said, one family doesn't speak the same language as the other, Li Qingshan said with a smile. Get out, Li Chen said immediately, I can let you use the venue, but you have to prepare the wedding things yourself, I won't let you use it. Li Qingshan. We are brothers. Brothers will settle the accounts tomorrow, Li Chen said, besides, I have to call Shui to ask. Are you crazy? Didn't you expose her by asking her, Li Qingshan said quickly. What you said makes sense. Li Chen realized that he almost fell into the trap. Revealing what? Li Chen and Li Qingshan turned to look at the door at the same time. When did they come? Li Chen was secretly annoyed. Since he solved the Red Skull, his vigilance has actually dropped. Looking at the two beautiful figures at the door, Li Chen immediately smiled. Shui, why are you here? Yes, Murong Shui is here. Li Chen didn't know. Murong Shui almost followed Li Chen's footsteps, but in order not to distract her man, she kept waiting. It wasn't until he received a call from Yuan Jiawai that he rushed over. Murong Shui's eyes were red and she started crying at the first sight. If I don't come to you, are you not going to tell me that you are safe? No, no, Li Chen's heart broke when he saw Murong Shui's aggrieved look. He quickly hugged Murong Shui and held her tightly in his arms. It was my fault. It was my fault. I apologize. Dongfang Yaoqing on the side pinched Li Qingshan, her eyes were full of resentment, and she was very dissatisfied. Li Qingshan looked at Li Chen who was showing affection in front of him with a speechless face. What a scumbag. Pooh. Of course, even though he was scolding in his heart, Li Qingshan did not hesitate in his actions. He hugged Dongfang Yaoqing as he stood up, and then groaned. What's wrong with you? Dongfang Yaoqing's resentment was reduced by half after being hugged. Hearing Li Qingshan's muffled groan again, I felt heartbroken. It's okay, Li Qingshan gasped and seemed to be enduring severe pain. Dongfang Yaoqing was not willing to let Li Qingshan feel so wronged, so she quickly softened her body and fell on the bed with him. Li Chen, who was holding Murong Shui in his arms, took a deep breath when he saw Li Qingshan looking at him. Livestock? What did you say that exposed you just now? Murong Shui asked, letting go of Li Chen with some shame. Dongfang Yaoqing's face turned redder, she broke away from Li Qingshan's embrace and lowered her head. Ah, this. All men have the same virtues. Dongfang Yaoqing poked Li Qingshan and said, you don't tell me? Then we really won't forgive you. Li Chen looked at Li Qingshan, I shouldn't have come to your room. Yao Yao, Li Qingshan decided to strike first, but Li Chen was obviously not a vegetarian. He knew that this cousin was not a good person. Shui, Li Chen's voice was so loud that it drowned out Li Qingshan's voice and startled Murong Shui. You know? Ever since I first met you, I knew that you were the one destined for me. Murong Shui gave Li Chen a gentle hammer, but she was still a little shy. But Li Chen was not afraid. It's my fault that you have been wronged all these years. Although it was all my father-in-law's conspiracy in the end, my heart for you has never changed. Murong Shui looked at Li Chen with an extremely solemn expression, slightly stunned. You have suffered a lot for me and I know I cannot empathize with you, but I am willing to spend the rest of my life repaying you. The 4 children are the fruit of our love. In order to give birth to them, you suffered a lot without a single complaint. I wasn't there when you couldn't eat, I wasn't there when you had morning sickness, and I wasn't there when you had back pain. If okay, I'm willing to bear it all for you. Murong Shui's tears fell and she covered her mouth with her hands to prevent herself from crying. I came too late and understood too late, but I'm glad we still have a lot of time. Li Chen took out a box from his pocket. I just compiled this outside, although this is just a straw ring, but that's what I want too. Will you marry me? Not only Murong Shui was moved, but even Dongfang Yaoqing cried. Li Chen knelt on one knee and held up a grass ring. Murong Shui looked at the man who only had her in his eyes with tenderness, and slowly stretched out her hand. I. Murong Shui cried a little and said, I do. When she stretched out her hand, Li Chen's heart was full of ecstasy and happiness. Even when he faced the unmatched Kailan Genren, his hands did not tremble, but at this moment, his hands trembled. For such a woman, he was really afraid that he would not be able to give her all the happiness in the future. When the grass ring was put on, Murong Shui stood on tiptoe and kissed Li Chen's lips with her red lips. Because there were outsiders, the two of them were separated at the first touch. Ah! Li Qingshan screamed because Dongfang Yaoking was twisting his flesh. She was very happy and envious to witness her friend, her neighbor, Murong Shui, who had a similar experience as herself, get her own love. Li Qingshan wanted to cry but had no tears. He admitted that when it came to shamelessness, he was still not as good as this cousin. He actually got ahead. At this time, even if he was confessing, it would be boring. Li Qingshan saw that he had suffered a great loss, and Li Chen was still in love, and he couldn't stand it. Yao Yao, stop it first, I want to tell you a big secret. Murong Shui couldn't help but look over. Don't you want to know what we were talking about just now? Li Qingshan said, we are actually discussing how to give you the most perfect wedding. Although I am the elder brother, I will never give in to my younger brother in this matter. Because I want to give you the most romantic, beautiful, sincere, and eye-catching wedding in the world. At least, I want you to be the one and only. Dongfang Yaoking stared blankly at Li Qingshan, who said it with a solemn oath, and said in a trembling voice, are you willing to marry me? I am willing, I have always been willing, Li Qingshan said, so, we will hold a wedding together next. It depends on who is more attentive between me and Li Chen. Are you willing to marry me? The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 790. Dongfang Yaoking's eyelashes were trembling. Even a blind person could see that she was very willing. Besides, holding a wedding together was such a romantic thing. Whoever was not well prepared would be more embarrassed. Women are extremely emotional animals, and their brain circuits are also very different from men. Just like at this moment, the two women were still sympathetic and recognized each other. But when it came to getting married together, they immediately drew a clear line when they saw how their husbands were prepared. Without waiting for Li Chen to react, Murong Shui said like a proud big white goose, of course it's okay, and I believe Li Chen will give me a unique wedding. This wedding is something that others can't achieve, right? Ah, yes, Li Chen responded with a dull face. Dongfang Yaoking immediately hugged Li Qingshan and said, although your Li Chen is excellent, our Qingshan is even better. He must have prepared for this a long time ago, otherwise, how could he bring it up? I think that what Qingshan prepares for me at that time will be the best and most unique. That's not necessarily true. In terms of ability, although your Qingshan is also strong, our Li Chen is definitely more powerful. Murong Xiu, this has nothing to do with ability, it has to do with the heart. My Qingshan is very romantic. Then our Li Chen is more careful. I believe that what he prepared for me is unique. Li Qingshan. Li Chen. Looking at the two women who were already somewhat tit for tat, Li Chen glanced at Li Qingshan. Li Qingshan was also a little confused. He really just wanted to show himself. Unexpectedly, the two women started to argue. Now that the two women have boasted, if he and Li Chen can't do it, they will probably have to kneel down on instant noodles when they go back. Tell me, can you do it? Ah. Yes, 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 Li Chen and Li Qingshan nodded dully. Humph. The two women snorted at the same time, then turned around and left proudly. Li Chen waited for Murong Shui and Dongfang Yaoking to leave, then sat for a long time and said, why do I feel like there is a trap here? Is there? Li Qingshan asked dully. Hiss, I can't explain it clearly, but I feel, we are like fools. Weren't we proposing just now? Yeah, that's right. But how come it seems to have become a competition between the two of us now? The two people who reacted suddenly felt a little bit of a toothache. It's not that men don't have a desire to win, but, sometimes when asked by others, they are not so strong. Marriage, just this once. Everyone wants to bring out the best, but don't want to be compared with others. But, they don't want what they prepared to be compared with others. So, are we going to compete? Li Qingshan asked. No, I'm better than you anyway. Li Chen waved his hand and said naturally. You'll die if you don't brag. Why do you think you're better than me? Feeling. Get lost, mine is definitely better than yours, and my wife will definitely be the most beautiful bride in the future. Come on, you're the most beautiful bride, you're just a mummy. There's only a little over a month left before the wedding date I secretly prepared, I don't know how you can beat me. Murong Shui and Dongfang Yaoking quietly lifted their skirts and slipped away from the door with light footsteps. When they walked away, the two women couldn't help laughing. Two fools. Dongfang Yaoking laughed until tears came out. Murong Shui also nodded in agreement. Obviously, they both had reached the edge of the truth, but the damn desire to win was up again. Before coming, the two of them had already discussed it. Get married together. If Li Chen and Li Qingshan didn't mention it, they naturally had a backup plan. Since they mentioned it, let's go with the flow. The comparison was agreed upon. Although there was some acting in the room, it was not necessarily fake. For the two of them, their lives were perfect at this point. The only regret was that they still lacked a decent wedding. According to our latest report, 3 days ago, a sudden change caused more than 20 groups, including Dongfang Group and Situ Group, to be inspected. The inspection found that the above companies all had serious problems. The supervision department has been gradually reviewing them. The latest news is that Dongfang Qiang, the chairman of Dongfang Group, passed away 3 days ago. It is reported that he was infected with a terrible disease. After rescue failed, he eventually died. According to insiders, the supervision department has cracked a major criminal case. There are many people involved, mainly the Mu family, the Zheng family, and the He family. The financial circle is turbulent again, and the new and old forces are reshuffled. The final king has been decided. It is reported that the richest man in China has changed. This is the first time that our country has topped the Forbes list. It is reported that the assets of this world's richest man are immeasurable. Many domestic companies have been acquired. Not only that, he has also acquired 21 large and small foreign companies. These companies are all, without exception, the top 50 of the world's top 500. All kinds of news, big and small, are breaking out. For example, the major families in the capital are reshuffled, and the Dongfang family is now officially taken over by Dongfang Yaoking. For example, there is only one old family in the capital that is still strong, that is the Xianyuan family. And the Xianyuan family will cooperate closely with the Rongcheng Li family, and the cooperation amount is as high as 100 billion. This news shocked many people inside and outside the industry, causing the Xianyuan family and the Rongcheng Li family to have several consecutive daily limit boards. The rest of the news has naturally been modified and polished. Ordinary people naturally don't know, and it is impossible to know the truth. The pattern of the major families in the capital is reshuffled. The old generation, such as the Situ family, the Dongfang family, and the Zheng family, have all fallen. And the Yuan family and the Ye family have successfully taken over. The Murong family has also become a major overlord of the second line, which is something that no one had ever thought of. Moreover, the status of the Rongcheng Li family has suddenly soared to the point where it can cooperate with the old first-line Xianyuan family, which is also a signal. This means that the Li group of the Rongcheng Li family has completely established its foothold at this moment. At the same time, the Li family of Rongcheng cooperated with more than 30 enterprises or groups across the country to jointly develop areas such as Yuan County and Anil Town. It can be said that the arrival of this wave after wave of news directly brought Yuan County under Rongcheng into everyone's eyes. The land price in Anil Town, which used to change every day, is now getting more and more terrifying. Many people who want to buy a house there now can't do it at all. Even if locals want to buy a second house, it is extremely difficult.